Hello everyone and welcome to this resource that we've created for you. It's an independent and collaborative learning resource for student teachers in initial teacher education, for newly qualified teachers, and for anyone supporting those individuals in their journey towards meeting the QTS and induction descriptors in the professional standards for teaching and leadership, but also for those who are willing and wishing to advance their practice further, because of course it doesn't just stop at induction, it doesn't just stop at sustained, highly effective practice. This is a continuum and an endeavour to be constantly trying to improve our practice in the 5 standards. So what you're going to find in this resource is some deep dives into 5 of the elements of the standards and their descriptors that we have selected in consultation with staff who work with NQTs, who work with students in initial teacher education. And those 5 we've selected because we know that they are elements that in the past student teachers, NQTs have found it quite difficult and challenging to consider how they can advance their practice in these elements, and how to evidence the progression that they've made in these particular elements. So the elements that we're focusing on in this suite of resources are pedagogy, differentiation. We're calling this P2. We've numbered these elements here at Cardiff Met in the Cardiff Partnership for ITE just for ease. So we've got P2, differentiation. We've got P8, pedagogy 8, exploiting subject disciplines. We've got innovation 1, I1, offering expertise. Professional learning 2, and this is professional networks and communities. And finally, collaboration 4, enabling improvement. So why are we doing this? So these 5 standards are, we know, integrated and holistic. So pedagogy, collaboration, leadership, professional learning, innovation, those 5 pieces of the pie are holistic, they're integrated, they work in tandem, and they represent the essential elements every teacher's work and practice encompasses. The elements and descriptors that we've selected, as I just mentioned, are areas that we know students and NQTs find it quite difficult to advance their practice in. They can be quite challenging to exemplify in their portfolios, and so we've chosen to focus on these. So we hope that this resource that we've created will empower students in initial teacher education and NQTs to articulate, to be able to evidence and to be able to continue to drive their own development in the professional standards for teaching and leadership in the elements that we've had a look at. But of course, what we find, or what you find, having taken deep dives into 5 particular elements and how different practitioners and students and NQTs have driven their progress in these areas, you could apply to other areas of the standards, other elements. So hopefully what we've presented to you, you'll find useful in working across the 5 standards and their subclusters of elements. We hope that this resource will not only support student teachers, NQTs, it will also support mentors, coaches, other members of the teaching profession who are working with these student teachers and NQTs, so that they can support them in advancing their practice, and even better if it has a knock-on effect in what they do as well. So the learning resource will include a suite of 4 videos for the 5 elements and descriptors that we've selected that I've already told you about. They will include deep dives into each of those elements, and you will see showcased professional learning conversations taking place between practitioners and student teachers and practitioners and NQTs that include detailed explanations of what the QTS and induction thresholds look like for those elements and their descriptors in practice. And examples of how ITE students and NQTs have used different types of knowledge and different approaches to advance their practice in those elements. The YouTube playlist format will allow you to gain that deeper understanding of each of those 5 elements at 4 transition thresholds on the continuum of progress from ITE to sustained highly effective practice. And the first 3 videos for each descriptor, for each element, will focus on the ITE student and the NQT, and we're calling these progress case studies. At Cardiff Met, in the Cardiff Partnership for Initial Teacher Education, we draw upon the work of Carol Steele, and we use her work to articulate the initial teacher education thresholds that a student teacher will move through during their training, during their initial teacher education. We call them unaware, aware, capable, and QTS plus. And the first 3 videos will examine how initial teacher education students advance their practice at 3 key thresholds that take them to NQT. The first threshold is unaware to aware. The second threshold is aware to capable. And the third is capable to QTS plus, or induction. Okay, and hopefully what you'll see is that continuum of progress in action, and how the student teacher has moved themselves along, and how they've moved themselves to a position where they're working at the induction descriptor. But we haven't stopped there. For each of the 5 descriptors, the 4th video will be an expert practitioner portrait. So the expert practitioner portraits showcase the work of practitioners who have sustained highly effective practice, and it's hoped this will engender a sense of challenge and aspiration for anyone who is working with these resources. So, in order to make the most of these resources, it's important that you engage with them independently, but that you also use them to engage in professional dialogue with anyone working with you to help support you in moving your practice forward. So consider how the practitioners advance their practice at the different threshold that the videos will exemplify. Ask yourself, what different types of knowledge and professional learning activity did these students, NQTs and expert practitioners engage in order to get where they are in their practice? And consider to what extent collaboration, innovation and professional learning supported their development in any of the pedagogy elements and descriptors. Because of course, as I said at the start, these are holistic, they work in tandem, they're integrated, they work together to move teachers' practice forward. So we hope you enjoy, and good luck with your journey.